Hello everyone, and welcome to Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. I was going to record the beginning of my attempts with this, and I thought I was, but it turned out I wasn't. And, I thought that I hit save and continue, and well, actually, I'm pretty sure I did, but it put me back at the beginning anyway, but whatever, I'm over it. But yeah, I played this for 3 hours, and I'm fairly certain that the farthest I've ever gotten is this cliff end with oranges, and I'm just gonna attempt to get back to that point again, hopefully without too much trouble. I like how this is the part that I'm struggling with already, which is probably the easiest part to deal with. Come on. This is the tutorial. This part should not be difficult.
There's no feeling more intense than starting over.
But yeah, I will reiterate some of my commentary that I made from before. I've been interested in playing this game ever since I saw people like Donkey and the Grumps play it, and Markiplier a little bit, because it seemed like it wasn't terribly difficult. I mean, certainly not an easy game, but not as hard as people were making it out to be. And I would say I still feel that way. Like, I managed to get reasonably far in the first couple of attempts from falling down the mountain.
Thanks for coming with me on this trip. I'll understand if you have to take a break at any point.
Yeah, I was going to after the 3.5 hour mark, but...
Don't worry, I'll save your progress, always. Even your mistakes.
Yeah, I don't believe you anymore, because I definitely hit continue, and then I went back, and it was actually where I was, and then I quit the game and hit continue again, and I was at the beginning, so... Yeah, I might actually... Where is he? Voiceover volume. I might actually mute him for now, because I've heard his voice for a while now. But he's got a pleasant voice, that Bennett Foddy. And I think people have different names for this pot character here, this character in a cauldron, and one of them is Bennett Potty. Because it looks like he's wearing a pot, and now I have to quote Baby Geniuses, because everyone loves that movie. I have to go to the potty! The potty? You're wearing the potty! Say what you will about that movie, which is a lot of things, because it's not a very good movie, but it's one that I watched a lot as a kid for some reason, and that is one of the lines from it that I actually think is quite funny. So if you ever wonder what one of the inspirations behind my sense of humor is, blame Baby Geniuses. Honestly, I probably would watch that movie again. There's a weird sort of entertainment from it. Because it's like... How should I explain it? It's not intelligent, but it tries to be. And there's something fascinating about that. Oh, and I'm seeing the subtitles here talking about sexy hiking, which I played a while back in preparation of eventually playing this game, and the controls in it are much, much worse. So I'm glad that this did not meet those expectations that I had after playing Sexy Hiking, but I'm playing this now on the day after my birthday, or the early morning after my birthday, I should say. So I started more or less on my birthday, and this was gifted to me by AZERTUD? I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm just noticing that the circle goes through the rock there. That's nice. This game doesn't look 3D, except for the guy in the cauldron, but it most definitely is. And it's kind of bizarre. It just, to me, looks like a bunch of Photoshop imagery but... Yeah, thank you to AZERTUD for the gift of getting over it with Bennett Foddy, which again I'd been interested in playing for a while. Because I wanted to know what the controls were like, and you can't really tell how good the controls are or how difficult the game is just by watching it. You can get an idea, but it's definitely not the same as playing it. And I heard from someone that the controls are bad, but I don't agree. I'm finding them pretty reasonable for the most part. Now, I'm not really showing off very much with this section here. Maybe it's because I'm focusing on commentary, I'm not really sure. I enjoy this, though. Whenever you turn this around, his hand just kind of goes through the handle. It's pretty good. Now, I don't know what all the different names of the different landmarks in this game are called. I only really know this one, which is the Devil's Chimney. I think that's correct. In the commentary, Bennett Foddy says something like he would make a challenge and it would seem nearly impossible, but he couldn't bring himself to make it easier, and I feel like this is probably one of the many occasions in which he said that. Because at first glance, or at first attempt, it doesn't even really seem possible, but then you try it a few times and it's not that bad. So, oop, nope. And my goal is really just to get back to where I was. And hopefully it'll save this time. Doop, nope. I sort of wonder if there's a way to abuse the saving, like if it saves once every 10 seconds, or once every 3 seconds, or whatever. Or once every frame. Because if it was once every frame, there's really no way to cheese it. But if it was once every, like, second or so, and you knew you were about to make a really big fall, you could just quit the game really fast and then, like, rejoin it, and you would be back where you were because it hadn't saved yet. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But yeah, that part wasn't so bad. Usually that part gives me more trouble. And it still might give me trouble. I haven't gotten all the way to the top just yet. Here we go. I had some thoughts about the text here, the commentary here that I currently have muted. Because throughout the course of this game, this adventure, Bennett Foddy talks about game design in the old school days and also the modern era, and how in more recent times games have become more, I don't know about streamlined, but they're less of an experience to get through as a challenge. It just expects you to kind of breeze through, not having to redo segments, and just... That's very different from the old days, when you would have an NES game and it's really unforgiving. You spend, like, an hour trying to get to a certain level, and then it turns out you're out of lives, and you have to go all the way back to the beginning, and it's always new details and stuff that you didn't see before, and... Yeah, it's different now, but I'm okay with it being mostly different now because, well, his argument is modern type games where you're just expected to kind of go through it once without too much difficulty or too much trouble. That's kind of like a trash or food where it turns into trash after you're done with it. But I don't know if I entirely agree. It depends on the kind of game it is. Because if it's, say, a story-based game, then you could say that it's sort of like trash in the sense that once you've dealt with the story, there's not really a reason to play the game again. But for me, I tend to prefer revisiting easier games than harder ones, because I feel like if the journey is like the entirety of the game, then once you're done with the journey, then is it really worth, like, the what you get out of it is the rewarding feeling afterwards. And once you've done it, that's kind of like the end of the rewarding feeling. You've already done it. But with an easier game, it's like, I'm always interested in revisiting games like Super Mario Sunshine or Donkey Kong 64 that have their hard parts, but for the most part, they're not that crazy. And I'm like always confident in my ability to reach the end of them, and that's part of why I like revisiting them. Anyway. Meanwhile, Bennett Foddy is apologizing for my own ineptitude. There's one quote in here that I don't really understand it, and it's a quote that Donkey made fun of in his video. Just, don't hate the player, hate the game. Ice-T. To me, that sounds like it kind of goes against the message of the rest of the game, which is basically like, if you take a step back, breathe, you can find your way through the struggles. But in the case of that quote, it feels like, oh, don't hate the player, hate the game. That means it's not your fault if you lose, it's the game's fault. But I don't really think that's true in this case. I think this game is pretty fair. Easy? No, but fair. I wonder what that means. That probably just means peril, no drop, or danger, no big drop, or something like that. I think peligre is danger, but I don't remember. So, it had a similar look to that word. I don't know Spanish. I learned a little bit of Spanish in elementary school, and a little bit of French in high school, and that is probably all I will ever know of any languages besides English and, like, Game Maker. I am not fluent in JavaScript as well as Klingon. But I have listened to a lot of Weird Al lately. It's a good time. I only just discovered his song Another Tattoo, which I guess is a parody of something called Nothing on You. Not a song I'm familiar with, but I think his parody sounds really good, and I also think that the lyrics... Well, the lyrics are fine in their own right, but the visuals of the music video are kind of fantastic. So, the look of the video and the sound of the music combined is just a wonderful experience. These stairs tend to give me some trouble. I'm not really sure why. It's just, once I'm actually on the steps, it's not that much of a problem. But it's a matter of getting on the stairs that's an issue. I kind of wish that this game kept playing music every so often once you fall. After a while, like after 2 or 3 hours, Bennett Foddy just kind of buggers off and says, I'll just leave you be, and then he doesn't play any music anymore. And I guess that's intended to help you focus, but I kind of think that the changes in music are nice. Yeah, yodel. Just like that knock-knock joke. I'm trying to think of exactly what it is. Oh, it's like little old lady. Yeah, knock knock, who's there? Little old lady who? Hey, you just yodeled. And now I'm reminded randomly of my teacher in the first grade. There was some game that we were playing where we had to, like, mimic certain actions that we see on a card, or certain words, and one of them was yodeling, and so she attempted to yodel. Well, I say attempted, she succeeded, but apparently not everyone can yodel, and it's kind of like the tongue rolling. Not everyone can roll their tongue, not everyone can roll their R's. Rolling in general seems to be a difficult thing for everyone in the population to do. Oh boy. I'm really glad this random wall is here, but it still makes me nervous. Not too nervous, though. I mean, the game is more nerve-wracking the higher up you go, but it's also kind of relaxing. It's a weird combo. Alright. Sticking down. Making progress. Sweeping the lawn. Just little gentle nudges, little gentle sweeps. Sweeps of this broom that is not a broom at all, it's a hammer. Alright, that's a much better place to be in. Now, I don't know how many people have made this connection, I'm sure a lot of people have, but the man in this cauldron, to me, looks vaguely like Vladimir Putin, just with... well, I don't know how much hair Vladimir Putin has, but he doesn't have a goatee, and this guy does. I'm sure if I got a better look at his face, it wouldn't be so similar, but that's just the closest comparison I can make. Yeah, and this is where Bennett Foddy down there... you know what, I'll turn this up just for him.
They want to burn through it quickly. A quick fix for the fickle. Some tricks for the clicks of the feckless. But that's not you. You're an acrobat. You could swallow a baseball bat.
Oh, yeah, that was one of his quotes that he attributes to no one, which means he is probably the one who wrote it.
On YouTube or Twitch.
I'm not.
Dude with 10 million
You
views
are.
does it for you. Like a baby bird being fed chewed up food. That's culture too.
Oh, yeah. I gotta say, that seems oddly presumptuous. Like, did he know ahead of time that there were going to be people playing this game with tens of millions of views? Because I think he was right. And he is the creator of QWOP, and QWOP is a game that has gotten a lot of recognition, but at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything you make is going to be a huge success. So I wonder if that's, like, something that he added in after the fact. I don't know. He was talking about when games were new, they wanted to daunt you and reset you and delay you and all that stuff.
But on the off chance that you're playing this, what I'm saying is, trash is disposable, but maybe it doesn't have to be approachable. What's the feeling like? Are you stressed? I guess you don't hate it if you got this far. Feeling frustrated? Yeah. It's underrated.
You know, I'm just gonna stop you right there, Bennett Foddy.
An orange is sweet.
Well, I thought that I did. Oh, I turned down the music. Anyway, I'm just gonna push off this orange. You can go sit down at the bottom. But yeah, that's kind of why I'm not a big fan of NES games. I feel like they're not always that fair. They're very unforgiving. This is an unforgiving game, but it's not so bad. Like, yes, there are chances of you going back all the way to the beginning, but there's also a lot of kind of safe haven spots. So I don't know. I mean, now that I'm this far, I kind of want to attempt to get further. But this is as far as I've ever gotten because I don't know how to handle this jump very well. It seems like... Well, because if I fall to the left, I just fall back down to where that big slide was out of the mouth. Over by the lawn chairs and the grill and whatnot, and that's not too friendly, and I'd rather not have to do that again if at all possible. Well, I am now farther than I've ever been, I believe. If I can just keep this up, that would be great. Well then. I don't know how I feel about this arrangement. Can I just sit down on that a little better? A little better, please? A little better? Yeah. Had a feeling that was going to happen. Oh well. You have seen me get as far as I have at any given point in time in the past 4 hours, so... Good for me, I guess, and good for you? I really don't want to have to deal with these stairs again. Yeah, this quote, the pain I feel now is the happiness I had before, that's the deal, C.S. Lewis. I do like C.S. Lewis, but I don't understand that quote. Most of these quotes seem kind of self-explanatory, that one not so much, at least to me. But maybe it would help to have the context. Now I just want to get back to that cliffside again. That's a problem with this game, it's addicting. Like, once you lose a lot of progress, you don't want to remain having lost all that progress. So you want to get back to where you were, but then once you get back to where you were, it's like, well, now I'm here, I might as well keep going. It's cruel. Cruel and unusual. It's not that unusual. But yeah. I might just... I don't even know if I should continue the video, because you've already seen everything that... Well, alright. I think that's a pretty good stopping point, actually. So, there you go. Thank you for watching. Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. Abraham Lincoln.